Okay, so I'm back. Hello. I don't know if you're probably all thinking why are you in the same clothes as the last 3 videos? Why is it still the same setup? We're bored. Yeah. I just thought I might as well just get it, just do it now. So, first of all, I'm sorry if you haven't seen my previous videos. This hair, I know what's with it. I know it's gross, it's disturbing. I'm having a bath later. Yeah, so into the video. So this is my giving birth story, or my birth story, or whatever. So I was in labour for about 38 hours, I think. So we weren't really doing anything on this day. We were it was the 23rd of December. Well, funny story enough, right? So Ryan got me a bouncy ball, well, a birthing ball, but it's a bouncy ball thing. And I think it's like the 21st it came, and then he was there saying, oh, you need to bounce on it, you need to, because it'll make you go into labour. I was like, oh no, I want to do it after Christmas, because I didn't really want it to come before, because I didn't want it to come on Christmas. She was born Christmas Eve. So I didn't use the bouncy ball because her due date was the 27th/28th, because some people say it was the 27th and some people say it was the 28th. So it was one of those days. And so I was like, oh, I'll just, in my head, I was like, oh, it's fine. She's not going to come before then. So as long as I don't do anything. So we were just in bed one day, the 23rd. I think we were watching Michael McIntyre videos, I think, if I remember rightly. And I was getting pains all day, but it wasn't in my tummy. I didn't think I was going into, because when they said last time it was all in my tummy. This time, and when I research online, they say oh, you either get your contractions in your tummy or in your back. So my contractions were in my areas. So I didn't think I was going into labour. So it was well, it wasn't like inside. It was just above it kind of thing, but under my tummy. It wasn't my tummy. It was I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what this part of my body's called, but it was pretty much my private areas. And it was really painful. It didn't start off painful. It wasn't really painful. It was manageable. Let's just face it like that. It was manageable. I was lying down, I was getting really uncomfortable and agitated. I kept going to the toilet, and it was really painful, so I thought I would, Ryan phoned my mum, and her and my brother came round. This was about 11 o'clock at night, and they were there saying oh, do you think you're going into labour? I was like, I don't know. I don't know, how am I supposed to know? So, it was just I don't know what they're called, contractions, I guess. They were just contractions, and I wasn't really sure, because it wasn't everyone always says how it's really painful, and it wasn't really painful for me. It was just painful and uncomfortable, so it just didn't really hurt that much. And they were just there well, should we phone the hospital? And they were saying oh, is it however long it should be? I was like, I don't know. I keep trying to do it, do the time thing, I didn't get it. I didn't get the time thing. I don't think any of us did. All four of us, we were just sitting there like, we kept trying to do it and we didn't quite get it. So I was still there, and I think we were at home before like my mum took us in. I think we got 2.5 hours. So they were there trying to like monitor it for at least an hour and a half. Because I think they came and they said like, oh well, we'll come back in a bit, but it's still there. So so they told me to run a bath. So I had a bath. That's what the hospital did. So I had a bath. It was still painful. So my mum and brother came back around and trying to monitor it again. And my brother was there saying like, oh, I know when it's coming because you're just tensing. Because I wasn't screaming or anything. I was just tensing up. And I was just like, yeah, okay. He was just like dead excited, and then like my mum was just there, just like talking to like Ryan, and then Ryan was just like there, like quietly freaking out probably. And his mum took us in, and my brother was there, he's like, oh, I'll go get the wheelchair. So he ran in and he went to get a wheelchair for me, and I got my bag and everything. I had like a bag for Lola and then a bag for me and Ryan. My brother and my mum had to go away obviously, because only Ryan was allowed there. And they were like, again, they were like saying like, oh well, like Ryan shouldn't be here, so we need to hide him. So that was quite awkward because they just kept saying it a lot, even though he was supposed to be there for me, because I would have had a lot of panic attacks. But anyways, it's just the way the world works now. And so I got in, we went back like on the ward again, and they checked my waters and did the thing again. I don't think they put the tube up there. I think they just kind of did like a swab or something, I think. And or they did something else, but I don't think it was a tube thing. And they said like, oh, we normally take you onto the ward when you're like 4 dilated or something, like, or was it 10? Was it 4? I can't really remember. I think the 10 is when you're in like full labour, isn't it? And then like 4 is when you go in, I think. I don't know. I think I was like when you're on 4. I think I was on 3. So they said like, well, you run your bath, and then if you can hear someone snoring, it's Arnie. He's very loud at snoring. Anyways, so they run us a bath. Well, they didn't run us a bath. We had to run the bath, which is fine, obviously. But either way, I said it then. Anyway, they took us to like the bathroom, and then they said like to go get us when you're ready. When I think you've had enough. They said try and stay in there for as long as you can. So I was in there for about an hour, just listening to Neck Deep, trying to relax, and it was like quite painful. It wasn't like, it was like bearable. It wasn't like excruciating pain. It was just bearable, really. So it was starting to hurt a bit more and a bit more, and it was quite nice though. It was like relaxing. but it wasn't, if that makes any sense. It was like relaxing, but it wasn't. But yeah, and then obviously when we were ready, like Ryan told them, they then took us to another room, which was actually the same room as the private room that I went to when, like the last time I was in the hospital, like when I stayed there overnight. That's where the room was. So they took us to there, and they. Oh no, I think at first. Oh no, they did take us there. So then she said, then we were waiting for someone to check, and I couldn't lie down, I couldn't sit, I had to just stand. I was like holding on to like the sink, and then they were like, oh, we'll just check, and I was whatever, dilated, I can't remember what it's called. I know it's like 4, is it like 4 something dilated, or 4 is it just 4 dilated? Dilated 4? I don't know. Is it even the right thing I'm saying? I'm sorry if I'm confused and I'm saying the completely wrong thing, but I'm just gonna stick with what I think it is. But yeah, and they then took us on to like the labour ward, and I think they took me in a wheelchair. Yeah. And so I was on the ward, and we were originally in this room. That's a fly on the camera. We were originally in this room, which we, because all the other rooms were full, when there was like, they got someone else out of, like, when a room was open, we then got moved into that room, so we weren't in that one anymore. And they gave me gas and air, which it's like, the way I describe gas and air is if someone like who hasn't experienced, like who hasn't had a gas and air yet, or hasn't had it, basically it doesn't take the pain away, it just makes your head foggy, like, I don't know, it's like I experienced a little bit of hallucinating a bit, like the room went all funny and everything was shaking, and then like the people like Ryan and the nurses, they looked a bit funny. Yeah, it just makes your head full. That's all it does. It doesn't really take any pain away. But that's it. I think it helps with breathing, I think. 'Cause that's what I found. I found like it helped me more with breathing. I was struggling to like do, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to cope with my breathing without it. So I was like breathing in and then taking it out and then breathing out. I think that's how it was. This was like 8 months ago, I don't remember. And so I was on that for quite a while. And obviously I asked for an epidural because I knew I wouldn't like be able to cope with it otherwise, like with the pain, I don't think, because I feel like if I wasn't relaxed I would panic too much, and obviously I wouldn't want to do that. So that's why I wanted an epidural. It wasn't so much for the pain, it was mainly because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like if I couldn't feel pain, or if I couldn't feel anything, I would be more relaxed, so I could just like lie back, just push when they tell me to push, and focus on like breathing and all that, which I think if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to focus on it, so I'd be too much thinking about, oh my god, like, because it's hurting, is it hurting for her, like, is she okay, like, am I hurting her, like, she's hurting me, but am I hurting her? I don't know, I feel like I would overthink it way too much, and I think I just panic more. So yeah, so that's why I wanted an epidural. So they did it. It didn't work. I could still feel a lot of pain. It wasn't really working. Well, it wasn't a lot of pain at this point, I don't think. Well, it was painful. Like, it was painful, but it wasn't like a lot of pain at this point, I don't think. Well, it was. It was quite painful, I guess, but it wasn't like, I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know, I feel like on a scale of prodding me with a needle quite a few times and getting stuck, I would say it was about 8 or 9. I don't think it was as painful as that. That's all I'm saying. But I think that's probably a different type of pain. That's probably why I think that. Like, obviously if I was like pushing out and I could feel that pain, it would be horrible, excruciating, very bad. I feel like it would be, but for me it wasn't like that, because obviously I couldn't feel anything at this point. Right, at this point I could feel stuff still, so they had to do it again. And if for those of you who don't know, to do an epidural, they do it in the back, so you have to go in like one of them roby things, and you have to squeeze the pillow, you have to put your knees up, and then they do it in your back, like a needle. And a lot of people say it really hurts, but I couldn't feel a thing. Like, I didn't even feel it go inside me, I don't think. I think I felt like it was cold, maybe, but that was it. I think it was like a tiny scratch. I didn't really feel it. And they had to do it 2 or 3 times to me. So, because it just wasn't working. Or like, every time, sorry, that's the chair squeaking. I was moving. And every time, like, it was going off, I had to keep pressing a button, I think. I can't remember. I remember I had to keep pressing a button every time something happened. But yeah, so, and then it got to like the pushing, and obviously I was like trying to push and all that, and she wouldn't come out. I was pushing my water out, but then I think I was pushing quite a lot of it out, and then they said like, oh, we're gonna have to pop your water. So even though I was pushing some of it out, they still had to do something to get it all out. So they did that, and then obviously I was like trying to push, she wasn't coming, and then they said they're gonna have to take me to theatre, and then I went into a little bit of a panic attack, but it was okay because they were all like there, they were all telling me it will be fine, don't worry, this thing is fine. But I think so basically I had a forceps delivery, and because they were describing that to me, I was panicking about it because it sounds horrible, and I'm sorry for people watching this, but I'm gonna have to explain it. It's basically like some tongs that clasp onto your baby's head, and then they drag it out whilst you're pushing. So that was scaring me. And then they said like if that didn't work, then I would have to have a C-section. So they did work. The forceps did work, but basically they had to take me to theatre, and I was peeing myself. I was very scared. They took me in like the bed, so they wheeled me in on the bed, and I was just lying there in the bed, and I was like, I had to just shut my eyes. I was closing my eyes, I was trying to focus. I was like there saying like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I had my eyes closed. I was trying to relax. I was trying to breathe. I was trying not to panic. And I was there. There was literally like 20, 30 other people around me. I don't think none of them were students, because like I put like on the thing as like make sure there's no students or anything around me. Which, by the way, at first there was. When they were checking me down there to see, like, when I was back in that other room, like the doctor, she was just like, "Do you mind if this person?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't want them to do it, please." So the first time she did it, and then they came back again, and they said like, "Oh, go on then, you try." I was like, "Excuse me." I was like, I didn't like, cause like of that thing that I don't like on me. I just didn't want a practice nurse or a practice like someone on me because of what happened before, which was the main reason why I didn't want that, and I just didn't want them around me. Because it's quite scary, everyone watching you and watching what they're doing, like looking at you down there, and I didn't like it, and she was there saying like, "Oh well, like she was like, I don't know, she was just like that. She was like, she just did it behind my back. She didn't even ask. She just did it like the second time. The first time she asked, and I said, "Can you just do it, please?" And she was a bit like moody about it, but she said, "Oh, fine. Well, she's gonna have to watch." I was like, "Okay," and I didn't really like that because that was freaking me out. But yeah, and then the second time, she watched her do it, and she was like, "Right, now it's your turn. You go do that." And it hurt. Whatever she did, it hurt because I think like I don't know what she was doing. I can't really remember what she was doing, but I think she had to put something up there. I think she was like testing how like close the head was. I think, yeah, that was horrible because it hurt when she did it. It hurt. But yeah, I didn't like that doctor. She wasn't very nice. She wasn't very nice to me either, because she kept shouting at me, telling me to push when I feel a contraction. And I kept telling her, I have an epidural, I don't know when the contractions are. And she said, "Well, you have to push when the contractions are." I was like, "Well, I don't know when the contractions are coming." I was like, "I don't know, I can't feel it." And she just kept having a go at me, saying, you need to push. I was like, "Well, like, because the midwives will tell you when to push." So I was pushing when she told me to push. So I would push. Because obviously I didn't know when to. But then she was shouting at me, saying that I need to know. And I was like, I don't know, I can't feel it. But anyways, so she did actually deliver my baby. She was the one with the forceps. So she'd actually deliver the baby. The baby, it's Lola. But yeah, anyways, so they took me to the, they took me to like this little room. Well, no, it was like this little room, and then you go in to the theatre. So they were there with at least 20, 30 people. This is why I closed my eyes. They were all shouting, saying like, "Oh, is this person here?" They were checking the massive list of who's here. And it was like a school register. So I was like there, trying not to panic, closing my eyes, taking deep breaths, and then I went in, and they had to do quite a few things. I think they all had to carry me on like a sheet, I think, because I couldn't move, obviously, so they had to carry me on a sheet, naked. I did have a roby thing on, but like, it was very embarrassing because they saw like my butt, because they had to keep rolling me to put the sheet under me. and it was all very awkward because about 20-30 people saw me naked and I didn't like it. It was very scary. This is why I was closing my eyes. I was trying to picture myself somewhere else. And at the time, like, to be fair though, you don't really think about it that much. You do a bit. Well, I did a bit. But it's not like, I don't know, I was panicking about it a little bit because that's what I was scared of. And I was panicking about it a bit, but on the other hand, I was like, no one's going to care. They're doctors at the end of the day, they're nurses, they see naked bodies all the time. So, if anyone is worried, just remember that they see naked bodies every day. And I know you're probably thinking, but they haven't seen my naked body, because that's what was in my head. And I just thought, well, what really is the difference? It's someone's body. That's all it is. It's just people's bodies. So it's just human nature. So that's what I tried to think, anyways. And so yeah, so then they had to carry me just by a sheet on this bed, on the theatre bed. And they dosed up my epidural. So before I could still feel stuff. Like, even though you have an epidural, it's like it takes away the contractions, I think, and all that, but it doesn't that you can still feel, if that makes any sense. So you can't feel the pain, but you can still feel things, I think, like not with your hands, but like your legs or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But when they dosed me up again, so it was a very strong, I then couldn't feel any. Okay, so my phone died there, basically. What I was saying was they gave me an injection when I was carried on to this other bed, and I then was completely numb. I couldn't feel absolutely anything, like, at all. But I'll go into that, like, in part 2, so because this video was so long, this is part 1, and I can say I literally continue part 2 where it like ended, I think. So I think I may explain that in part 2. I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen like the first 30 seconds. What I think I will explain it, but I was just saying that just to finish off what my sentence, basically. But thank you for watching part 1. Thank you if you enjoyed it. Sorry it was quite long, I know I ramble, but thank you again, like, if you watched it. And obviously if you enjoy it, leave a like. If you don't enjoy it, then I'm sorry if you didn't like it. But yeah, thank you for watching.